live from the city of Lagos. Lagos is a center of excellence. Today is the last day of July 2026. We will never see this day again, the month of July 2026. So thank God for the gift of life. Thank God for sparing our life to this very last day, the month of March. Tomorrow we start another month. We start again, another opportunity to make our lives right. All right, this is Overt Radio Breakfast Show. My name is Kenneth. We are broadcasting to you live from the city of Lagos. It is Friday. This is the last edition of Overt Radio Breakfast Show. Thank God it's Friday weekend. I'm home resting, getting ready for the new and the fresh week. Yes, like we always do every day here, every morning, we want to thank our listeners and those that will be watching us on our various social media platform. We are currently streaming on YouTube over to Radio Live. I want to say a very big thank you to all those who tune in to this particular program, over to Radio Breakfast Show since Monday to this very, very hour. We appreciate your faithfulness. We appreciate your loyalty for staying with us here on Overt Radio Breakfast Show. Like we do, we are starting this morning this breakfast show where I'll be reviewing some of the stories making headlines, in the various newspaper across the country this morning. All right, this the breakfast show is being sponsored by Live Back Pharmacy and Stores, marketers of Ogama QS Soft Gel. Is an anti-malaria drug medicine, not drug medicine. Okay. all right, listeners, let's get it to the business of the day. All right, on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, we won't bow to intimidation. This is coming from Adeleke, the Osun State Governor. We won't bow to intimidation. Following the detention of Secretary to the State Government SSG, Mr. Teslim Igbalaye, let me bring it up. Okay, yeah, that's it. All right, following the detention of the Secretary to the State Government SSG, Mr. Teslim Igbalaye, by operatives of the police command over alleged vote buying, Governor Ademola Adeleke yesterday declared that the people of the state will not succumb to any form of external interference or intimidation as the August 15 governorship election draws near. This came as the police command confirmed the release of the SSG from its custody. Igbalaye was detained along with 5 others for allegedly committing vote buying related offenses as the police recovered permanent voter cards, PVCs, cash sums, and voters register from his house. He was detained alongside 5 others after the police raided his private residence in Oshogbo. Although Adeleke did not directly address the detention in his post, he maintained that no amount of intimidation or harassment would make the people of the state succumb to fear ahead of the election. The governor maintained that the verdict of the people would prevail, adding that independent polls consistently point to a clear and decisive victory for Accord Party because the people can see and feel the impact of his administration. He stated, throughout the history of Osun State, our people have never bowed to intimidation. We are resilient, determined, and fiercely protective of our rights. As we approach the August 15 governorship election, I have absolute confidence that no amount of external interference or intimidation can override the collective will of the people of Osun State. From infrastructure and education to healthcare, workers' welfare, and pension reforms, our record speaks for itself. Okay, that's it. Let me see if I can bring out. All right. By the grace of God, with the continued support of the people, of the good people of Osun, Our second term will build on this achievement and deliver even greater progress for every community. The best days of Osun are still ahead. The Osun State Police Command has confirmed the release of the SSG from its custody. The police also identified the other suspect arrested at the residence of Abiodun Arowomole, popularly known as Ashipa, who was described as a wanted murder suspect on the command's watch list alongside Taiwo Akande, Lukman Adeyemi, Muftau Olaoye, and Musliu Adeyemi. Oh well, yes, thank God that the SSG has been released, has regained its freedom. According to the report, he was found with when the police broke into his apartment. According to the report, Igbalaye was detained alongside 5 others for allegedly committing vote buying related offenses. But the question is, has the vote started? So, as the vote started, because he's in the possession of what was he in possession of? Permanent voters card, PVCs, cash sums, and voters register from his house. Okay, he's not supposed to be in possession. He's a secretary to the state government. He's not supposed to be in possession with these items, according to the police. And also, he was also accused of alleged vote buying related offenses. But the vote has not started now. Governorship election has not started in Osun State. So why would he be accused of vote buying? Was he caught giving out money during election? Election has not started. So I want to urge the police to do a thorough investigation concerning what the SSG has landed himself into. They should do a thorough investigation, come out with a clean cut investigation, as to regards this particular gentleman in Osun State. And election is coming. The governorship election is coming. Like I said yesterday, I did call on the police should also investigate other political parties too, that will be contesting in the August 15 election. The APC is there, the PDP is there, the ADC is there, other parties who have candidates for the governorship election. The police should also, do likewise as they have done to Accord Party, to Adeleke's team, to Adeleke's camp. They should go to extend this investigation, to other candidates, in the state, to other political candidates in the state. And also, the police should not only go after the party, the opposition party at the central, which is the APC, because the APC is doing everything possible to make sure that they capture Osun State. There are just 2 states in the southwest that have not been captured yet by the APC. The Oyo State and Osun State. Oyo State is being governed by the PDP, and Osun State, is being governed by by Accord Party. Remember that Adeleke was in the PDP, before he decamped to Accord Party, few months ago. So the APC is trying everything within their arsenal, within their possession, to make sure that they capture Osun State, and using force, to gain control of Osun State shouldn't be the how do I put it now? There's a word I'm looking for. Shouldn't be the concern of the party. INEC will organize election August 15th. Let the people decide who will rule. Let the people decide the political party that will be in charge after August 15th. Yes, it is the desire, it is the plan and the wish for any political party to capture power. But at the end of the day, it still rests on the people. Let the people come out to vote, and vote for the party they feel will be able to deliver the dividends of democracy to them. You don't force yourself to people. Political parties, and that is what is obtained in this country. Our style of politics is funny. Our style of politics is hatred. Our style of politics is a politics of of this animalistic tendency, which shouldn't be so. Okay, which shouldn't be so. So let the people decide. It is the people that will decide at the end of the day. Forcing yourself to the people, forcing yourself to the people is not the way out. Intimidating opposition parties, it's not the way out. Just because you are a ruling party, that doesn't give you the right. It is undemocratic, for you to be intimidating members of other political parties so as to bring fear in what they are doing. So I want to urge every political party. I'm not saying that the APC is behind the arrest of the SSG. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is that there should be a level playing ground for everybody. If the police is going after a court party, the police should also do their investigation, in other political parties with other candidates of other political parties, so that there can be fairness, there can be equity, and there can be justice. Okay, and so that is that. Let's move to the next headline. This is coming from the Sun newspaper. INEC rejects military deployment for elections. INEC rejects military deployments for election. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has reiterated that the deployment of the armed forces during elections should remain an exceptional measure, stressing that the Nigerian police force is a constitutionally designated lead agency for election security under the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security, ICCES. I take that again. INEC has stressed that the Nigerian police is the constitutionally designated lead agency for election security under the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security. INEC Chairman Professor Joash Amopiton stated this while delivering a keynote address at a seminar organized by the Army War College Nigeria in Abuja. The seminar focused on election security, civil-military relations, and the legal framework guiding the conduct of democratic elections in Nigeria. Represented by the Commission's Director of Legal Services, Al-Hassan Umar, Amopiton commended the armed forces for their patriotism and commitment to protecting Nigeria's territorial integrity. That is their primary objective. That is the primary aim of the Nigerian army, of the Nigerian military. Defending, protecting the country's territorial integrity. But maintained that the role during elections should be supportive, protective, and strictly within constitutional limits. As both a teacher and a practitioner of law, permit me to begin by reaffirming the constitutional framework governing election security in Nigeria, he said. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria clearly delineates the responsibilities of institutions involved in the electoral process. INEC is constitutionally mandated to organize, undertake, and supervise elections, while the Nigerian police remains the lead agency for election security under the framework of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security. According to him, military involvement in election security is not intended to be routine. But it's only justified where prevailing security conditions require military assistance to civil authorities. The role of the armed forces, this is the INEC chairman saying, the role of the armed forces is exceptional rather than routine. Their deployment arises only where a prevailing security conditions require military support in aid of the civil authorities and strictly in accordance with the Constitution and other applicable laws. Accordingly, the armed forces perform a supportive rather than supervisory role, protective rather than political, and only firmly anchored in constitutional responsibility. Amopito reaffirmed INEC's commitment to conducting elections that are transparent, inclusive, technologically driven, professionally administered, and fully compliant with the Constitution and the Electoral Act. He said the Commission would continue to prioritize inclusivity by making adequate provisions for persons with disabilities, the elderly, pregnant women, and other vulnerable groups. In this regard, we look forward to the continued support of the armed forces and other security agencies in ensuring that election day security is discharged with professionalism, restraint, and respect for the dignity and fundamental rights of every citizen. Security personnel must inspire confidence, protect voters, safeguard election officials, and preserve the integrity of the electoral processes. Our shared objective is not merely the conduct of peaceful election, but elections in which every Nigerian can freely exercise the constitutional right to vote without fear, intimidation, or where is it? I've missed it too. Without fear, intimidation, or unlawful interference. Okay, is a lengthy story. All right, yes, INEC have clarified that there is no need for military deployment during elections. That the primary, the main security agencies that can lead, election security is the Nigerian police. And what comes to my mind when I was reading that story is that do we really need security personnel during elections, if not for the selfishness and for the greediness and the malicious attitude of our politicians. If not that politicians they want to win by all means. If not that politicians will never will always resort to violence. When election should be peaceful. If you don't win today, it doesn't mean you won't win tomorrow. If you are not elected today, that doesn't mean that you will not be elected tomorrow. So the need for security presence, for the presence of security personnel during election should not even arise, should not even be something we should be discussing, because this is a modern day democracy. How many security officers, how many police officers do you see when the United States are conducting their elections? How many security officers do you see across polling units in the United States? How many security officers do you see across polling units, across voting centers? I don't know what they call it there in the United Kingdom and in other advanced democracies. This is high time we start seeing how other countries do things. These countries, they have been existing before we. There are some countries that have been practicing democracy for 50 years. They have been practicing democracy for 150 years, for 100 years, for 20 years, for 30 years. And there is no issue, when voting, when election is going on. So why should Africa, why is it that at every election we will be deploying 20,000 police officers to polling unit? Why is it so? Election is not a war event. Election is an event whereby people exercise their franchise, whereby people exercise their right, their constitutional right, their obligation to vote for who will represent them in governance. Is not a war. So why deploying thousands of police officers to polling units when it's not a war? It is because of the greedy attitude, of the greedy nature and the wicked nature of our politicians, because they see that if I don't win today, I must win. It is not like that. Any politician that has this mentality that in the 2027 election nothing must happen if I don't win, it should not be so. It's an opportunity. Campaign well. Sell your plans, sell your programs to the people. Do a very, very good campaign. If you campaign across the length and breadth of the state, across the length and breadth of the country, and if people buy to your vision, if people buy to your aspirations or to your manifesto, they're going to vote for you. If they don't vote for you, that doesn't mean that you're not good. It's because they are not aligned with your goals. That is why you didn't win in the last election. So I want to urge politicians, I want to urge political actors in the country. 2027 is around the corner. It is not a must that you win election. Okay, it is not a must you win election. If you don't win, you will still be alive. If you win, you'll be alive. Okay, so don't see election as a do or die affair, just like the former president has always been hampering on, that my election will not, no blood will be lost during my election. According to Jonathan, I'm paraphrasing him now. This might not be the exact word he used. No life should be lost during election. There shouldn't be violence during election. Election is not a war time. It's not a war exercise. It's not a war. It's not battle. It's not protest. Election is not protest. Election is giving people the opportunity to vote for who represent them, in governance. So the idea of deploying police officers to polling units, because if we are still doing that, that means our democracy we are still babes in this country. If we are still deploying police officers, because if we are still deploying police officers in this country, that means we are still lawless when it comes to election. Everybody should comport themselves at various polling units. The way you queue up to buy fuel, the way you queue up for bus, for trains, should be the way we should organize ourselves. This idea of causing violence, this idea of causing pandemonium during election, that means that we are still babes. We don't have regard for the rule of law. We should be able to comport ourselves in an orderly manner, just like them in the US, in the United Kingdom, in other countries, in advanced countries where democracy is being practiced. How many policemen, how many police officers are deployed to polling units, to voting centers in the United States of America when they want to vote? How many do you see? So let us individually, as citizens, as Nigerians who are residing in the country, let us organize us. Let us be organized. Let us behave in a civil way. Let us be civil in the things we do. Okay, the idea of deploying police wouldn't have arrived. So we have the ability, to organize election peacefully. We have the ability to organize election peacefully, and a peaceful election rests on the political actors. It also rests on INEC. INEC has a lot of reassurance to do when it comes to conduct of elections, and also the people themselves, the electorate, they also have a lot to do. So political actors, INEC, the electoral umpire, and also the voters, these are the people that can guarantee peaceful elections. Okay, these are the people that can guarantee peaceful elections. All right, let's go to the next headline. The next story making headlines this morning, on the 31st day of July 2026. It is Friday. This program is being brought to you by Lifeback Pharmacy and Stores Limited, marketers of Ogama QS Subgel. Is an anti-malaria medicine. This is Overt Radio. You are listening to Overt Radio. We are streaming from our Zeno platform, zeno.fm/radio/Overt Radio. You can watch any of our programs here in the studio, our live interviews, our talk shows, our discussion programs, on our various social media platforms, on X, Overt Radio Live, on Instagram, Overt News, on TikTok, overt.radio.lagos, and also on YouTube, Overt Radio Live. We are open for sponsors. If you have a product and you want to and you want your product or your service, your companies to be mentioned in any of our programs, feel free to send us an email, overtradio@gmail.com, overtradio@gmail.com, OVERT radio radio@gmail.com. if you want to sponsor any of our programs from the morning to all the way to 8:30 here on Overt Radio. All right, the next story making headlines this morning, the front page is from the Sun newspaper. Keyamo dismisses Atiku Obi's chances, says election like coronation for Tinubu. Okay. Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development Festus Keyamo said opposition candidates Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi stand no chance against President Bola Tinubu in 2027 election. According to him, the 2027 polls would be less of an election and more of a coronation, for Tinubu. Keyamo made the assertion as a guest on Politics Today, a Channels television program on Thursday. The minister said the All Progressive Congress APC's victories in the FCT municipal and Ekiti gubernatorial elections were indicators of what would happen in 2027. Okay. He noted that the APC administration has performed creditably, and Nigeria would vote for the party again. He said, and I quote, "We have won in Ekiti now. We told them to vote, they voted. FCT, they voted, we won." He scoffed at insinuations that Atiku and Obi could stop Tinubu's re-election. On Obi, Keyamo said, "I'm looking around between you and me. Where will Obi's votes come from? I can't see it." Asked if Atiku could pose a threat, he retorted amid laughter, "Which Atiku? Nightmare who?" The minister added, "I want to make a profound statement as a closing statement, not out of arrogance, not out of overconfidence, but out of pure demographic calculations. The 2027 election is a coronation, not an election. I repeat, don't take me out of context. Out of pure demographic calculations, it is a coronation." Right. Well, Festus Keyamo, you are a minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development. Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development. You should not, despite the fact that you're a member of the president cabinet, you're a member of the APC, and I even blame the journalist that is asking you questions concerning election. How has the aviation sector, how has the aviation industry improved since you were made Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development? What is your plan for aerospace development? What is other countries doing in aerospace development that Nigeria is lagging behind? How efficient, how safe is the aviation industry since you were made minister? Under your watch, there have been multiple aircraft that have skidded off the runway at our various airports. What has been the precautionary measures? What has been the safety regulation? What new safety regulations have you brought in as a Minister of Aerospace and Development, as a Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development? What has been the improvement since you came office? These are the questions that I expect the journalist should ask the Minister of Information. Yes, we understand that it is election period, and you said that you are not saying it as an act of arrogance or an act of overconfidence, but that was just what you displayed. That was just what was displayed. That according to what you said, that Peter Obi and Atiku stand no chance, against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That's overconfidence. Election hasn't even started. campaign. I mean, campaign hasn't even really started. You've already concluded, how the outcome of the 2027 presidential election will be. So I want to urge, the president men, the president boys, or the president men, that they should focus on their ministries. They should focus on their ministries. You are a minister of aviation and aerospace development. Focus on your ministry. When it's time for election, let those in the APC do the campaigning, while you guys as ministers do your ministerial job, your ministerial appointment. Because Nigeria is a country whereby all people that are in the president cabinet, they campaign for him. Even governors, campaign for him. So I want to urge ministers at various ministries, departments and agencies, do your ministerial appointment. Yes, we understand that APC may have the upper hand because it is the ruling party, because it is the incumbent political party in power, but there are more things to talk about than talking about politics, than talking about who will win 2027 presidential election. There are more things to talk about in the country, in the aviation industry, in the health sector, in education, in the economy, in the banking sector. There are more things. There are more policies that need to be put in place for things to be running smoothly, than coming on TV and start saying that it is not that you are arrogant, it is not that you are overconfident that Tinubu will win, and you are a learned individual for that matter. You're a lawyer. You're a lawyer saying that the 2027 election is a coronation. This is unexpected of somebody who has legal repute in the country. You won't find somebody. You won't find a highly a professional lawyer like Kiamo in other clients be talking about politics. You are a minister of the federal. You are a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You are a minister of aviation and aerospace development. You're supposed to be talking about the achievement, of your since you are a minister. What have you been able to do? What were those things that were wrong before you came in, and what are those things that you've righted, while you're a minister of aviation? What safety measures has your administration been able to implement, for airline operators in the country? So those are the things that is expected of you to be focusing on. You are not the campaign Director General of the 2027 Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima campaign organization. You are not the Director General. You are a minister, and you should focus on your ministerial appointment. Campaigning for the president on television, that should be left for those in the APC. That should be left for the person who is in charge of the election for the APC, for the president and for the vice president. And the governor of Imo State is the person in charge of that, and he should be in the position to start predicting who will win the 2027 presidential election. All right, let's go to the next stories making headline. Oshun, 14 parties sign peace pacts as Adeleke alleges police-backed violence. 14 parties sign peace pact as Adeleke alleges police-backed violence ahead of the August 15 governorship election in Osun State. 14 participating political parties have signed a peace accord. However, the event was marked by a strong protest from Governor Ademola Adeleke, who claimed his administration and party members have been under siege and constant attack for the past 3 months. Representatives of all governorship candidates were present for the peace pact organized by the National Peace Committee. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Joash Amupiton, urged all political parties, candidates and supporters to strictly adhere to both the letter and the spirit of the agreement. By signing this peace accord today, we are not only affirming our dedication to non-violence and mutual respect among all political actors, but we are also sending a powerful, unambiguous message to our citizens that democracy thrives when peace prevails. Amopiton expressed INEC's readiness for the polls and called on all candidates to cascade the spirits of the accord down to their ward executives, polling agents, and grassroots supporters. Cascade is to send the message across, send the message across ward executives, polling agents, and grassroots supporters. He urged them to demobilize the use of violence, curb inflammatory rhetoric, and let the ballot alone decide the outcome. In his address, Governor Adeleke revealed that he nearly boycotted the peace meeting due to the violence unleashed on Osun State over the past few months, which he blamed on directives from Gboyega Oyetola. My presence is due to my very deep respect for our peace leaders here present. Our gathering is to endorse peace, but my government and people are facing police-sanctioned violence and intimidation. War is being waged actively against my people by the Osun APC, openly supported by the Osun State Police Command, Adeleke alleged. Oni of Ife, Oba Adeye Ogunsi, urged political parties to shun violence, reminding them that power belongs to God and ultimately to the people. Speaking on behalf of the NPC, Cardinal John Onayekon called on all governorship candidates to respect the peace accord and ensure a peaceful atmosphere before, during, and after the election. All right, so I am surprised. So where are the 13 other political governorship candidates? Where are they too big to attend? What was so important? Where are the other 13 political governorship candidates? Because according to the story, let me see where it say that the representatives of all governorship candidates were present. Representatives. It was only Adeleke. That was physically present, because he said he would have boycotted, the peace accord. So where are the 13 other governorship candidates? Were they too big to attend the peace accord? Even the APC themselves, they were not around. That shows the arrogance among our politicians. This is just something that will not take more than 3 hours for you to attend. You didn't attend, and you want to be governor of that state. The peace accord that was a thing of necessity, you did not attend, and you say that you want people to vote for you. The peace accord that was supposed to be a necessity, virtually all the governorship candidates did not attend that peace accord. Even the APC did not attend, the PDP did not attend, the Labour Party did not attend, the ADC did not attend, the NDC did not attend. That is, if they have candidates, for that election. Okay, so I urge politicians in this country, don't take the people for granted. You've taken this is a ritual. You've taken this ritual. You've taken this. This is something that is necessary. You've taken it, for granted. So I want to urge our political actors. You are not even there yet, but you are boycotting. You are, your presence was not there. It shows that you will not be committed to whatever the outcome of the result. It shows that is you don't. I don't need somebody to tell me that if you cannot attend the peace accord, which is mandatory, although it's not constitutional, but as a thing of commitment to peace, it's just a commitment to peace. Attend. It will take you 3 hours. It will take you 3 hours. This hostility in our politics, in our democracy, it won't take us anywhere. If we continue to be hostile, if we continue to be hostile to other political candidates, to other political actors, to those in the opposition, if we continue to be hostile, then what that thing that we desire so much from democracy, it won't be delivered, because we are not doing it the way it ought to be done. So I urge all the political actors in Osun State. Election is just 2 weeks from now. Tomorrow it will be 14 days, solid 2 weeks to that election, to that governorship election in Osun State. So all candidates, all governorship candidates has been said by the INEC chairman, they should abide by the law, play by the books. All right, play by the books. Okay, now the next story is making headline. This is 42 minutes gone past the hour of 8 o'clock. We are broadcasting to you live from the city of Lagos. This is Overt Radio. This program is being sponsored by Liveback Pharmacy and Stores Limited, marketers of Ogama QS Softgel, is an anti-malaria medicine. All right, I think this should be the last story this morning. Okay, Orire Makinde constitutes judicial panel to probe children teachers abduction. Makinde of Oyo State, Governor Sheyi Makinde has set up a judicial commission of inquiry to investigate the abduction of pupils and teachers from Esinele and Yawota communities in Orire local government area. Mr. Dotun Oyelade, the Commissioner for Information and Civic Orientation, made this known in a statement on Thursday in Ibadan. Oyelade said that the commission was expected to determine the circumstances surrounding the abduction and identify the factors that led to the security breach. He said that the panel, which would be inaugurated on Friday, which is today, was also tasked to make recommendations to prevent a reoccurrence. The commission will examine the event leading to the kidnapping, assess the response to relevant authorities, and recommend measures to improve security and safeguard schools and communities across the state, Oyelade said. He further explained that the setting up of the panel was in line with the governor's commitment to ensuring a thorough and independent investigation into the incident. The abduction occurred on May 15, while the abducted pupils and teachers were rescued after 56 days in captivity. Yes, we thank God that those kidnapped victims regained their freedom. That should be last 2 weeks or so, 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so, 56 days after they were abducted on the 15th of May. They've regained their freedom. Now, this is what I have to say concerning the story. Yes, it's a good thing that the governor is setting up an inquiry panel, an inquiry to investigate as to what led the abduction of the pupils. Over 46 of them, over 40 pupils were abducted from Sinele and the Yawota communities in Orire local government area, and 2 months later, close 2 months, they were rescued. So now, whatever recommendation that this panel will be giving, I want to urge the governor, because I don't know how many times he has left. The governor will be leaving office next year. So whatever recommendation that the panel will be given after the investigation, I want to urge that a recommendation should be an act. Okay, whatever recommendation, those recommendations should be, our schools should be secured. Now that kidnapping and abduction, the trend is going towards schools now. The governors don't need a prophet to tell them what they should do, because common sense suggests that it is high time. Schools should be well securitized. Schools should be well protected. Schools should be well protected. That particular schools, those schools that the abduction occurred, Are there presence of security officers now? This is what I'm saying. This is what we've been saying. Maybe they might be there, but after some time the security personnel will leave. So we need constant aerial surveillance, land surveillance, police patrol in all the schools. It can happen. I don't care how many schools are in Oyo State. I don't care how many schools are in Lagos State, or how many schools are in the FCT, or in Kaduna State, in Borno. It can happen. There should be police patrol across the schools. There should be police patrol, area surveillance, land surveillance, person to person surveillance. There should be some level of security in our schools. It can happen. It can happen. And the country has the resources. The country has resources, because if billions of naira are being budgeted for SUVs, if billions of naira in this country, if billions of naira are being budgeted for SUVs, how much more? Why can't they channel that money in ensuring that there is constant surveillance in all the schools in this country? So let us use money for what is needed. Let us use money for what will benefit us, not what will be done, not something that we'll enjoy, that will give us pleasure. Our leaders, they have the capacity to do these things. They have the capacity to man these schools with security personnel. They have the capacity. If they have the capacity to budget billions of naira for SUVs, they have the capacity to budget operational equipment for security in all the schools in this country. They have the ability. All right, Lagos, that is how far I can go this morning. It is 48 minutes gone past the hour of 8 o'clock. We're taking things slow. It is Friday, 8:48. It is your time. All right, by 9:15, I will be here for the political update. And what will I be discussing this morning? I will be talking about what Tinubu told the governors yesterday when the Oni, not Oni, that's the Oba of Ibadan, I'm trying to get his name, Oba Rashid Ladaja, when he paid a visit to the president. Tinubu has told governors to stop building unnecessary flyovers, focus on quality of life and security. All right, that is what the Olu of Ibadan, yes, the Olu of Ibadan, when the Olu of Ibadan land paid him a courtesy visit at the Asorok Villa yesterday. So Tinubu has instructed state governors, stop building flyovers. Flyover will not improve the life of your people. It should not. Don't go.